and welcome to Online Business Uncovered. This is episode 169, and today is quite a special episode because this week I'm celebrating 4 years since I launched this podcast back in 2022. I thought it would be fun to look back at everything I've learned, because while this episode is about podcasting, these lessons apply to every entrepreneur building an online business. So let's jump right in and let's get started. Welcome to Online Business Uncovered, the show that lifts the lid on what it really takes to turn your brilliance into digital products, passive income, and time freedom. I am your host, Karen, an online business strategist, course creation expert, and your go-to for building a business that works for you and not the other way around. If you are an ambitious entrepreneur feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, or maybe you're just ready for a smarter, more sustainable way to grow, then you're in the right place. Because each week I'll be bringing you inspiring conversations, practical strategies, and step-by-step guidance to help you create scalable, repeatable digital products that sell even while you sleep. So if you're ready to stop trading your time for money, reclaim your time, and finally build a business that gives you the freedom that you deserve, hit subscribe and tune in every Thursday. Let's uncover what's truly possible for you, starting now. Hello and welcome to another episode of Online Business Uncovered. I am your host, Karen, and I really do appreciate you hitting the play button to listen to today's episode. Now, today's episode is a special episode because today I celebrate 4 years of having this podcast. So I want to take you behind the scenes of that journey and share a little bit about what has happened and the lessons that I've learned along the way. Now, what's really interesting to me is that, number one, 4 years has absolutely flown by. I really don't know where that time's gone. But I'm also going to talk about why I almost talked myself out of starting this podcast and how it's impacted my business. And also why I believe that creating consistent content is one of the best investments that you can make in your business. Before I dive in though, I want to talk about something that I am really excited about. Now, as many of you know, I am currently in the throes of organising the Online Business Growth Summit, which has taken place this October, the 6th to the 8th of October. It's happening over 3 days, and this event is designed for service providers, coaches, consultants, and experts who want to create more freedom in their business by creating scalable income streams. So taking what I share on this show and actually putting it into action. Now, over 3 days, you're going to be hearing from over 18 incredible speakers covering topics from digital products, marketing, sales, social media, podcasting, setting up systems, visibility, and so much more. Honestly, when I say these speakers are incredible, I'm not lying. They are amazing. Now, my aim is simple: to help you stop relying on exchanging your time for money. Your time is so incredibly valuable. So I want to support you in building a business that gives you more flexibility, more freedom, and more opportunities. Registration is completely free. You can attend this event for free for the full 3 days, and I would love you to join us. Simply head on over to my website, www.sellyourbrillianceonline.com, and sign up for the event. There is a £27 offer that I'm running at the moment. So if you cannot attend all sessions live, then you may want to sign up for the All Access Pass. You will get lifetime access to all the recordings. Also, all of the bonuses as well. And there are going to be some amazing bonuses that's going to be included. I highly recommend that you do this if you can. It's only £27 at the moment. At the event, it's going to be £197. So this is the early bird price. But the premise of this event is helping you actually move forward and take the action that you need to take. So I'm really excited about that. I will pop the link in today's show notes. But I hope you can join me and the rest of the speakers, because it truly is going to be an amazing event. Okay, so let's dive into today's episode. And today, as I said, I'm celebrating 4 years as a podcaster. Now, for me, it's funny looking back, because podcasting now feels like such a normal part of my business. I schedule it in and I do it every week. And I don't batch record, because I never quite know what it is that I'm going to be talking about before, sort of days before, if you like. So my podcast is released every Thursday, and on a Monday I will sit down and I will map out the episode. I am not one of these that batch records everything. I just can't do it. It doesn't work with the way I do things. I've tried and I failed. It just doesn't work. So every week I sit down, switch on the microphone, and I record an episode. 4 years ago, it was really different, because I nearly convinced myself not to start. I had every excuse that you could possibly have. I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel like I knew enough. I didn't feel like anybody would listen. How could I even deliver weekly episodes? I'm going to run out of ideas. I'm going to dry up really quickly. So there was a moment where I'd almost kind of not done it, and then I had to have a word with myself. What is interesting is that when I speak to other entrepreneurs about ideas that they've brought to life, so it doesn't necessarily mean podcasting, it could be creating a YouTube channel, or it could be building an online course, or it could be creating a membership or building a community. It doesn't matter. One thing that I think is really common amongst entrepreneurs is that at one point or another, they all have similar thoughts. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey, the doubt can creep in, and you end up carrying fear around what you're doing, whether it's a fear of judgment, a fear of failure, a fear that nobody will care. When I talk to other people about it, it's really interesting to me, because podcasting to me now feels very natural. But it does make me realise that everybody suffers from it. Everyone suffers from imposter syndrome. Everybody suffers from that fear of failure, and also sometimes the fear of success, because we don't know where things are going to lead. And the reality is those fears aren't going to go anywhere. The only way that you can tackle those fears is to push through them. And when I look back now at before I launched my podcast, I wasn't ready. I didn't have it all figured out. But what I did do is I just got on with it. I recorded my first 4 episodes. So in that instance, I did batch record. I released my first 4 episodes. I scheduled them and I shared posts about them. And I was absolutely terrified, because this is the first time really that I've really put myself out there in the public domain to be judged. When I had my branding studio, I was always behind my business. But when I launched my podcast, it was almost like I was stepping out from the shadows and kind of almost making it about me, and my personal brand. And that was a very different energy to step into. It was a very different space for me. It was really uncomfortable. I'm not somebody that likes to be at the forefront of everything. I'm quite happy to kind of blend in the back. I don't need attention on me. So having a podcast has meant that I've had to get comfortable with being visible, but also having people hear my voice and listening to what I say and sharing my thoughts and opinions, which is not something that I was doing publicly. All I knew was I wanted to share my voice. I believe that, especially for women, we need our voices to be heard. There is a lot of noise out there, and there's a lot of amazing people that have so much to say. And I knew that I had a message that I wanted to share. And for me, that was the driver. I wanted people to hear what I had to say, because I believe that what I share can really help other business owners like myself to create freedom in their business. And having gone through everything that I've gone through within 10 years of business, I was owning the fact that I'd learned, I had achieved, I had my own successes, and I wanted to share that. And I wanted to also create something that breaks free from the hype that we see online and deliver it in a way that is grounded, that makes sense, and that is doable as well. I think we spend far too much time believing that we have to look like someone who's been doing something for years before we're actually allowed to begin. I think that's impossible. I think we have to own the fact that when we're starting out, we may not know what we're doing. And there's a beauty in that. There's a power in that, because we're in that space to learn. And also remembering that everyone has to start somewhere. Now, fast forward 4 years, and for me, so much has changed, because I've now recorded 168 episodes. I've received thousands and thousands of downloads. I'm listened to in 97 countries and over 670 cities around the world, which is crazy, because all I am doing is jumping behind my mic and sharing what I know. That's it. And if you told me back at the beginning, I wouldn't have believed you. Not because I didn't believe in myself, but because I couldn't possibly imagine where one small decision would lead. And that's the thing about taking action. You never get to see the opportunities that exist on the path that you never take. Now, the reality is, podcasting has changed my business. I get asked a lot, is podcasting worth it? And for me, 100%. Has podcasting made me millions? No, but that's never been the point. I've never been somebody to chase the money. I know there are people in the podcasting world that downloads needs to equal cash. That's not why I do this. For me, it's about sharing what I know, creating an impact and helping people along their journey. It has done so much more for me than made me money. Has it made me money? Absolutely. It has built trust and it has nurtured my audience, and that nurturing has led to sales. Of course it has. But what it's done, it's allowed people to get to know me. When somebody listens to you every single week, they begin to understand how you think. They get to know your personality and your values and your approach. By the time someone reaches out to you to work with you, they feel like they know you already. And I've been on calls with people where they've turned around to me and said, I've been listening to you for years. I've listened to so many of your episodes, and now I'm speaking to you. Which is crazy to me, because I just do what I do. But the reality is, naturally, this podcast has led to clients. It's led to speaking opportunities. It's led to collaborations, amazing conversations off the back of this. I've created friendships. I've had guest interviews. I delivered a program last year all about launching your first podcast, and that was amazing. And I've had opportunities that I would never have predicted. And I think one of the biggest benefits of all has been that it's forced me to keep learning, to keep reflecting, and most importantly, to keep showing up. Now, there is not a magic formula in business. There is no magic formula. The people that get success in business, they get success because they show up, they take action, they learn, they refine, and they stay consistent. That is it. I don't think there is anybody out there that has been on a path, just followed the path and got to where they want to get to. It doesn't work like that. So one of the biggest lessons that I've learned myself over the past 4 years is that consistency where we are showing up and we're doing our thing and taking action, that consistency compounds over time. One episode probably won't change any business. 10 episodes probably won't either. But 168, that's a library. It's years of searchable content that people can have access to. It's years of helping people, of building trust. And every single episode that I have released becomes another opportunity for somebody to discover my business. Sometimes I receive messages from people who've listened to episodes that I recorded years ago, while I was asleep, while I was on holiday, while I was spending time with my family. And that's the beauty of creating content that lasts. And it continues to work long after you've created it. Now, something that I feel really passionate about is that whilst social media is brilliant, and I use Instagram, I use LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm dipping my toe in YouTube at the moment. I don't know YouTube as well. But the reality is it doesn't matter how brilliant these platforms are, we don't own them. Algorithms change, reach changes, platforms come and go. But a podcast, a blog, an email list, these are valuable assets that we have in our businesses, and they're the things that you're building for long-term growth. And that's why I believe that every entrepreneur should have at least one platform that they truly own. I went onto my Instagram platform yesterday. I released some content and I got a message to say they've limited my account because I think that one of the bots has picked up a word that infringes their community guidelines. There is nothing on my Instagram account that should infringe anything. I don't talk about money. I don't talk about investments. I don't talk about sort of shady stuff. But their bot has picked something up, so I'm having to appeal it. But if I have been spending years building an audience on there, and then Instagram decide to shut me down, my audience has gone almost overnight. And that's the danger. So when you choose a platform like podcasting, this is something that I own. I own these episodes. This is my content. Everything I create is original. So I'm not having to worry that somebody's going to come along and shut me down. So if you've been thinking about starting something, maybe it's a podcast or a newsletter or a YouTube channel. Maybe you've been thinking about writing a book, creating your first online course or your first digital product, launching your first micro offer. And you're telling yourself, I'll do it when I'm ready, when I have better tech, when I have more knowledge, when I've done that degree, when I've done that training, whatever it is. I want to encourage you to stop waiting. You're never going to be ready. It's like having children. If you'd said to me, was I ready when I had my first child? I was not ready. I did not know what I was in for. But we went for it and we had our first child. And we're still here. She's still alive. Pat on the back to us. We've kept her alive for 14 years. We still have no idea what we're doing. And most of the time in my business, I have no idea what I'm doing. But what I do is I show up, I take action, and I throw myself in. And I just learn as I go. And when I do that, something amazing happens because things then fall into place. It's all about consistency. So waiting until you're ready rarely works. Confidence comes from taking action. It doesn't just find you. Action creates that confidence. It's not the other way around. So if you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I would love to do whatever. I'd love to start a business. I would love to run a retreat. I would love to host a networking group. Do it. it'll be one of the best experiences you'll probably have. Now, looking back over the last 4 years, I am so grateful that I ignored the voice inside me telling me that I wasn't ready. I don't know where my business would be today if I hadn't pressed publish. So today I would like to just simply say thank you. Thank you if you have listened to one episode. Thank you if you have listened to 10 episodes, or if you've listened to all 168 episodes. Thank you to you if you've ever shared an episode, left a review, or recommended this podcast to anybody else. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you as my listener. And I'm so excited to be going into the next chapter. And I've got so many more conversations to come. I'm so excited because in the next few weeks, I'm going to be releasing the Summit Speaker Series, where I'm going to be introducing the speakers to you each week. I'm going to be sharing all about the summit, what I've learned, and the good, the bad, the ugly. The one thing podcasting gives me is a platform to share things on. And I do it in a way that I hope is valuable to you. So thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this show. Now, before I finish, please don't forget to grab your free ticket to the Online Business Growth Summit. Head on over to my website, www.sellyourbrillianceonline.com. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope this has given you some clarity and sparked some new ideas for your business. If you have found this helpful, then I would love you to share it with a friend who is also building their online business, because it might be exactly what they need to hear today. And if this episode has you thinking that you are now ready to start turning your valuable expertise into income, then I would love to invite you to the free summit that I'm delivering in October called the Online Business Growth Summit. Head on over to my website to grab your free ticket, www.sellyourbrillianceonline.com, where you can register and be the first to hear about all the upcoming updates. I will be back next week with another episode, but until then, have a wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Online Business Uncovered. If today's conversation has sparked an idea or gave you a dose of clarity, then please make sure to check out the show notes for all the links and resources mentioned. New episodes land every Thursday, so hit follow or subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you're loving the show, a quick rating or review goes a long way in helping more brilliant entrepreneurs like you find this show. Until next time, keep showing up, keep sharing your brilliance, and remember, freedom in business is possible, and it starts with taking the next right step.